Today I wanted to talk about my philosophy on New Year's and also about the plans for this channel going forward, because it's always nice to kind of revisit, like what you're doing and make a plan. And yeah, so that's what we're going to do. I'm also going to be talking about the new project that I have for this channel that I'm very excited about, and I think that it's going to be really helpful for you too, especially if you are interested in embarking on a plant-based gluten-free journey, or you just want to eat healthier, you just want to cook more creatively. This project will set you up well. It's also if you want to manage your finances, if you want to budget, if you want to save some money, because yeah, I'll tell you more about it in a second. I'm also going to be talking about my nutrition and movement strategy. I mean, we already know it's plant-based and gluten-free, but there are more parameters, and I can't wait to share those with you. And as for movement, like what am I doing? Like what is my fitness strategy? We're also talking about what's a Sigma Grandma? This is right now I'm calling what we're doing Sigma Grandma Front Porch Chats, and I'll go into that a little bit more. I want to start with my New Year's philosophy. So, the whole New Year, New Me thing, like right now, it's like really, it's trending to bash that. It's trending to be like,
I'm done with the New Year, New Me. It's New Year, same me.
Blah, 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 blah. And that's fine. But I actually don't hate the idea of New Year, New Me. And the reason why is because I think that the new year creates a great opportunity for a reset, to clean the slate. I wrote this. It's great to have a statute of limitations to how much you can punish yourself for the past transgressions. So you can clear the rap sheet and get a fresh new start. So yes, yeah, the idea is it's a new year, and I'm no longer going to beat myself over the head for all the things that I did this year, for eating too much, for not exercising enough, for not, following through on last year's resolutions. Fresh start. So yes, it's still the same you, but we're cleaning the slate, right? We're giving ourselves a fresh start. But still, as for New Year's resolutions, I do not think that I do not think that winter is a time to act on them. I mean, winter is not like a really good time for new beginnings. I kind of think of winter as a gestational period between like the death of the year and the new life of the year. We're in the womb, we're hibernating. This is a time of reflection. It's not a time to start new things. It's a time to think about the new things that we want to start, maybe even practice them, but not make resolutions that you have to stick with, and if you don't stick with, you are a failure. It's not that time. It's time to play, time to reflect, time to consider options and try them on. I think that spring really is like the best time to implement new things, to start new things. In winter, you're the seed, the seed is planted. So I guess, yeah. So in winter, the seed is planted, but in spring, it actually sprouts. And, it pokes out of the ground and says, hello, world. And that's when you start doing things. So I actually kind of think that the spring cleanup should actually be the winter cleanup, so that when spring comes, you have a fresh path to go and be all that you're going to be the new you. We go to a co-op. That's where we normally shop. It's a great co-op. It's we've been going to this co-op for like 5 years, and it supports the local farmers, which I love, and also other local businesses. I love seeing the same faces, the quirky personalities of all the people who work there, and I love that everything in the store is always in the same place. that I could just do my little routine, and I know where everything is. I can imagine my shopping trip, ahead of time, because nothing moves, nothing changes. I love it. Typically we spend about $200 a month at this place, and that is excluding alcohol and dog food, which we sometimes get there. It's a lot, but I didn't realize how much a lot it was. I just knew that groceries were getting really, really expensive, and it was really bothering me, and it was cutting into our budget. Then just recently we had to go to Ohio for like 12 days because my father-in-law was in the hospital. And he was in ICU. He actually coded, but he came out of it and he's doing well. So that's really good. But we were there for, like 12 days, and I had to do some shopping. I had to shop for the week, and I went to the local Kroger. I had total sticker shock. Like, not in the bad way, but in the good way. Like, my bill was like at least, almost half as much. And yes, it wasn't like the same ingredients and everything. It wasn't the same stuff. But I was absolutely shocked because I was looking at all the groceries and I was like, this is going to be like $200. And it ended up being like $80. It was crazy. It was totally crazy. And so that's kind of where I got the idea. Here is what we're going to do. We're going to be using the same exact shopping list, and we're going to be visiting different grocery stores. We're going to be using the same exact shopping list, and we're going to be visiting different grocery stores, be comparing bills to see, which is more expensive. But we're also going to be, I have some other parameters. Let's see what they are. I can't remember. We're going to do 9 grocery stores over the course of a 9-week period, which is perfect because it's going to get us to spring. And with spring, it's going to be a new plan because we're going to have the farm stand across the street is going to open up. We're going to be going to farmers markets. We're going to be enjoying fresh local produce, and it's going to be at a good cost because it's fresh, and because it's in season. Okay. So we're going to do 9 grocery stores over the course of a 9-week period, which will take us into spring, and I will rate each store based on price, quality of products, availability of products, and the shopping experience. And then I decided to stop at the beer den because I need to stop and make adjustments to the list, right? Cheers, babe. My husband's at home with dental work and he's in pain and he's just like suffering.
Dude, I'm waiting to hear why you feel bad about it.
I actually do, and he's gonna see this video too, and he's gonna be like,
Is that something you
rude.
like?
This is fun.
Beer den or just
The beer den. She said like everybody comes here and hangs out. I think that's so cool. And then I will determine my shopping strategy after that. So we're going to be going to my local co-op, which is Weaver Street Market in North Carolina. There's several of them. It's more expensive, but it does support locals and it supports local farmers. But we're going to figure out just how expensive it really is compared to the other stores. We're going to go to Lowe's Food, which is a local North Carolina grocery store chain. That's the first place we're going. Aldi, Walmart, Whole Foods, Wegmans, which is a high-end grocery store, Harris Teeter, which is the equivalent of Kroger, where I went in Ohio, Trader Joe's, because I know a lot of y'all like to shop there. I think we're going to struggle with Trader Joe's because we're pretty Whole Foods. We're pretty Whole Foods here. We don't do a lot of ultra-processed food, and Trader Joe's seems to excel in inexpensive, ultra-processed food that's, kind of exotic and everything. I've never liked their produce that much, and I don't like that it's all in like plastic bags and stuff. But we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it. And Food Lion. So Food Lion is kind of the opposite of Wegmans. But we're going to see it's supposed to be a budget-friendly store, but we're going to see just how budget-friendly it really is. And, it'll be interesting to see how that rates against Walmart, how Walmart rates against, Whole Foods, and how my co-op, rates against Whole Foods too. Of course, there's going to be a little bias towards the co-op because my style of cooking has developed over the last 5 years in conjunction to what I have at the co-op. So yeah, everything is going, like the co-op is the, like in a patriarchy, everything is based around man. Yeah, so my whole way of doing things is based around this co-op. So yes, there's going to be some bias because all the food is going to be available at the co-op, of course, because I base everything. But at the other stores, I'm going to have trouble finding the foods, and they might not be there, and I'm going to have to do substitutions. But of course, I'm not going to be able to get the same products from place to place, but I have some parameters, like I'm always going to choose organic when possible, BPA free always, but also choose like the lowest cost. So if we're doing organic, if we find organic chickpeas, which I'd love to get a lot of, we'll probably use the generic form of the chickpeas because that would be the cheapest. And in terms of substitutions, that would be a teachable moment, right? So I'm going to be using the same groceries. We're going to be bringing the same groceries into my house every single week for 9 weeks. But we're going to be making different meals. No repeats, probably. Always different meals with these same sets of groceries. So this is the creative part. This is the area where I show you, how to kind of be flexible and creative in the kitchen so that you can, take the same ingredients and make an infinite amount of meals with those same ingredients. Or, 2 lovebirds in an empty nest, that we only really need to plan 3 meals a week. 3 dinners a week. And then with leftovers and date night and all of that seems to get us through the whole entire week. And then we just need some extras like tofu and veggies, avocados and fruit, for lunch and for snacks. And for breakfast, I just eat like oatmeal and fruit and nuts. This is my typical breakfast. It's a whole bunch of frozen fruit, fajitas, and a flaxseed, hemp seed, chia seed blend. And just about every day, either cooked or overnight or baked. That's what I like to do, and so that's really easy. I will have a video where I visit every week, where I visit a new store. I cook 3 meals with whatever we have on hand based on this shopping list, talk about substitutions and creative ways of cooking. And then throughout the week, I will have pop-up lives where I make lunch or I make a sauce. I call them like pop-up kitchen improvs. And every once in a while, I will do like a thrifted, let's play dress up kind of video, because I love to do that. I know it's like, this is kind of a plant-based channel, but I don't do enough of those to justify another channel. So they're coming on this channel and I have so much fun doing it. And a lot of you really love it. In fact, there's probably, those videos do better than my plant-based videos, but I don't care, because the people who are most loyal to this channel are here for plant-based or just cooking videos or just learning to be creative in the kitchen. And it's something that I'm really good at. It's my special interest. I'm in the kitchen all the time. I can't get out of the kitchen. I love it so much. I read about it. I learn about it. It's just my life. It's what I do. And I'm very passionate about it. Let me give you the vibe. The vibe of this channel, it stays the same. And the vibe here is, we're friendly, we're organic, we're authentic. We are not this is not a polished channel where I zip through a recipe and give you everything that you need so you could cook a meal and not have to think about it. I actually want you to think, I want you to be creative. I want to teach you that cooking is something that is fun, that you can make your creative time. I want to help you see the kitchen as like an artist studio. You know what I mean? First of all, you have to feed yourself, right? That time is already a requirement unless you're getting takeout all the time, and that's not healthy and that's not good for your budget. You already have to pay for your food, so there's a budget for being creative. Like if you were to just start painting or something, you would need a place to paint, so you would need space, and you would need a whole bunch of like supplies, which would cost you money. But with cooking, you can actually save money. And if you get really good at it and you get really practiced at it and you get really creative, you actually save some time because you're not like just going consulting a recipe all the time. And, you know, that whole back and forth, you know, that just takes so much time. I find it very difficult for me. Like, I really like just knowing how to do it, you know? And there's a personal development part of this. Cooking for yourself and others is an act of love, which is an antidote to fear. Creativity is also about facing down fear and perfection. In order to be creative, you have to dispel any notions of being perfect. It's all about play. It's not about perfection. The more you practice what you love, the easier it gets. The more you learn to quash perfectionism and fear. The more creative you become, the more love-driven you are, and the more hope and happiness you create in the world. And I believe in that wholeheartedly. Creativity can save the freaking world. If we are more love-driven, if everybody is doing things because they love what they're doing, they have direction, right? But if everything is based, if you live a fear-driven life, you have no direction because you're like, oh, I'm gonna learn to be a yoga instructor, and you start heading in that direction, and all of a sudden, you know, fear shows up and says, but you can't be a yoga instructor because you're too old, or you don't know all the yoga moves, or you're not flexible enough, or whatever. And then you just are defeated, and you turn around and then you find another direction. You decide you're going to be a realtor, you know, whatever it is that you're going to be. And you go in that direction until you find out like it's too expensive, or, you know, like something happens that makes you afraid, and you stop. And then you go in another direction. And so this is what your life looks like. It's just like, like eventually it just looks like a scribbles, you know? But if you're love-driven, if you are like, this is what I want, and you don't allow fear to get in the way, you just keep your eye on the prize. You know, you make love the mountain in front of you, and you go towards that mountain. And you get to the top of that mountain however way you need to. And I think that if people were, you know, more inclined to be love-driven versus fear-driven, they are more inclined to be satisfied and more directed, and they have a sense of purpose because they are going after that purpose instead of being chased away from that purpose by fear. I think creativity is such a good practice because it teaches you to just play in the face of judgment and fear, you know? Like people are like, you can't color outside the lines, and you're like, oh, yes, I can. And, you know, maybe coloring outside of the lines doesn't get you anywhere 9 times out of 10, but that 10th time, maybe it's a masterpiece. Sigma Grandma Front Porch Chats. So I know that over 50 content is going viral now. People love it. Younger people want to see older people thriving because that's the direction they're going. They're going to be older people someday. We're also an aging population, and also there's the influencing thing. Like there's older people spend more money than younger people. There's a lot of demand for content from older content creators, which is great, and it's a good reason for you to get started too, and face your fears and just do it. If you've always been wanting to do a channel, now's the time. There's nothing to lose. there never was anything to lose. A lot of channels featuring women who are over 50 are about beauty and anti-aging and all that kind of stuff. Even if it's framed as pro-aging, it's still like, it's pro-age washing. It's still about anti-aging. It's just remarketed. It's, you know. I personally have no interest in convincing you or putting any pressure on you to be hot until you're 100, to be hot until you die. I think that it's not constructive. There will be a time when we all have to face that beauty is no longer a force of influence for us. And at that point, we need to lean into wisdom. We need to lean into our crystallized knowledge, everything that we learned. And when we realize that, you know, we're not influential because of our beauty, that could come at 50, 60, 70, it can come at 80 maybe. But the more we prolong it, the more we mourn the loss of our looks. The more we dig our heels in, the more we spend money trying to stop the aging process. And while we're doing that, we're actually not focusing on the wisdom that we've gained. We're not focusing on our holistic wellness. So I personally think it would be better to focus on that going forward rather than our beauty. That said, I'm not saying just let yourself go, because how we look is a representation of our health. We still need to do healthy things, which are going to be reflected in, you know, our attractiveness. I personally, you know, am not into like anything unnatural except for makeup and clothes and shampoos, deodorant, sometimes fake nails, but you know, surgery and stuff like that. I have no interest in like delaying the aging process because in front of it is a bunch of suffering as I try to not age, and behind it is where I can build my wisdom and holistic personal development, and I'd rather just, you know, work on that now. And like, you know what Sigma is? Sigma is like a Sigma is like a non-conventional person who does their own thing, a lone wolf. They could be leaders or they could be like recluses. They do what they want to do. They typically are purpose-driven and not driven by the crowd. That is what a Sigma person is. It has often been applied to Sigma males, like in that whole, like all the guys talking about alpha male and beta male and Sigma male, and the younger generation, like Gen Z and Gen Y, I think it's become part of their lexicon of slang. And so a Sigma to them is pretty much like an asshole, but like an asshole who, you know, just leaves the girls in the wake. But I'm taking back that term. I'm not going to let them have it. Okay, so my current diet and exercise, it's experience-based. It's fun-based. It's still play-based. And I plan to keep it that way. I'm plant-based, gluten-free, but I am focusing on protein. I have been losing some weight, which I'm pleased with. I have been losing weight since I've gone strictly whole food plant-based. For a while, I was doing the starch solution, which is a whole food plant-based, very little oil, like no oil really, and like, you know, you just get fats from seeds and nuts, but you kind of don't try to get too much. And based on like volume eating, like people who like to eat a lot, like they eat a lot of vegetables and potatoes and all that, I found that to be hard on my body. I didn't like it. It wasn't comfortable. I never felt really good just eating tons and tons and tons of vegetables and starches until like my belly swelled, and I always kind of felt like both hungry but without an appetite like all the time. It just took the pleasure of eating out. And I don't know. I felt like I was just going to the trough every day, and it wasn't very fun. I really like to enjoy food. Also, I have this like belly, menopausal belly, and I'm trying to do things to kind of deal with that. And a lot of people suggest protein. So I'm increasing the protein in my diet. I'm not worrying about fat so much. I'm using oil, I'm eating nuts and seeds, but I'm just eating less so that I can make really nourishing, comforting meals that are really satisfying, but I don't eat till I'm full. I just eat until I'm comfortable, and that feels so good to me. I'm really enjoying it. I've noticed that when I've lost some weight, that I'm starting, like, my legs are getting skinnier, everything, like, I don't know. I'm scaling down, but my belly is still sticking out, and I kind of wish that I like the way that I look right now, except for the belly. I like to keep it all. I'd like to keep my ass. I'd like to keep my legs. I'd like to keep it all. I just want the belly to be flatter. You know, I don't want to be like skinny with a belly. You know, that's not my wish. You know, we have to accept what we have, and we also have to accept what we're willing to do. And I'm not inclined to go to Gold's Gym and, like, you know, power weight, at least not right now. So it's not something that I'm doing. It's not something that I really want to do. I'm not going to build a, you know, big weight gym in my house. So, you know, the consequences might be skinny legs and a belly. I don't know. But, you know, I know who I am, and I know what I'm willing to do. I am, however, doing more body weight, or what do you call it? Weight. I'm using my own body weight to do exercises. I do push-ups all the time. I do squats, and I am learning. I've made it not so much my resolution, but like my goal to learn some new dance moves. I'm kind of focusing on shuffling. Lots of women are doing it now. I saw this, like, influencer, this woman on Instagram who's like 60, and she shuffle dances, and it looks so cool. It's kind of like both sport and dance, and I love it so much. So I'm kind of picking up, like, the Running Man and, like, the Charleston, and I'm integrating it into my play. I'm just putting music on. I like to do it with funk. And just kind of inventing my own moves. And so I'm really picking up the dance moves. I'm picking up the intensity and trying to get more, you know, exercise and weight-bearing exercise by doing that. A lot more jumping and hopping, and then I do my push-ups and my squats, and I do them all the time. And I have a kettlebell. So, which I do sometimes too. So that's my plan. I'm also hula hooping. I haven't been doing it lately because it's kind of cold. It's been really cold, and the hula hoop doesn't go over layers very well, you know, so I haven't been doing that much. But, well, I think I've talked enough. That's the plan, at least, you know, until spring. That's the project I'm working on, is the grocery store project. 9 different grocery stores. I think it's going to be really fun. I think it's going to be really informative, and I think it's going to help all of us, you know, stick within a budget, be healthy, and get a good objective understanding of what stores are expensive and what stores are not. My battery's dead, so I gotta go. But thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you, and I will see you this week at Lowe's Market, Lowe's Foods.